And greetings, everyone. This is Terry Naturally with another edition of Terry Talks Nutrition. We're here every Saturday and Sunday morning from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. And we are here for you. And the reason I say that is because I want you to understand that drugs are not the answer to your health. They do not promote health. They are important to our overall survival. They can be very critical in an emergency. If you've had a really bad accident or an injury, or maybe at some point in your life, you have done so much damage to your body that drugs may be necessary. But remember, drugs don't make you healthier. They save lives, and they are necessary in our society. But food is your medicine. And the chemistry of our food, there are chemicals in our food. They're known as vitamins and minerals and other accessory food factors. And that chemistry in our food influences the chemistry in our body, both physically and mentally. And the diet that Americans are eating today is atrocious. It is not a healthy diet. And we have a lot of unhealthy people that are now taking a ton of drugs because there are so many unhealthy underlying health conditions. And that's why people are getting sicker and sicker. And so many people are testing positive for COVID and are dying. The sicker they are, the more risky for death. The elderly, and those that have underlying health conditions are more susceptible because they are weak and frail and unhealthy. So my goal is not to tell you what to do. My goal is to help you understand that it's our responsibility, you and me, that our bodies are our responsibility. How we take care of it has a huge influence on our health overall. Our diet is number one. Our food is number one. Food is our real medicine. And we have lived on this earth for millions of years only with food. And drugs came on the scene in the last 100 years to the extent that today Americans consume 60% of all the drugs manufactured worldwide. And 80% of all the drugs that are manufactured to relieve pain are consumed in America. And 85% of the drugs designed for children are consumed in America. All these drugs are consumed in America because we have been brainwashed to think that drugs are the answer. And I'm not going to get into vaccines. Just talk about drugs. And remember, all these drugs consumed in America, we are only 4% of the world's population. 80% of the world uses plant medicines. Natural, plant, herbal, botanical medicines. So I'm just trying to expose you. And if I assume that if you're listening because you want to be healthier. You wouldn't be listening if you didn't care. You wouldn't be listening if you'd rather go some other direction. But you're either listening because you have a problem and you can't find an answer through a drug or some other form, and you're maybe looking for an alternative. And believe me, there are so many alternatives to drugs that are more effective, or at least as effective, and without the side effects. So we can learn a lot, and I do. I do a tremendous amount of research to find these topics. And I have a staff that also works with me that are constantly looking for new information that we can share with you. And it's all scientifically referenced. We don't make it up. I don't make it up. My staff doesn't make it up. We want to share good, solid, scientific-based evidence that natural medicines are the way to go. Prevention is the key to cure all disease. And we need to start now. The younger we start, the better. Don't abuse your body for 7, 8 decades. And then try to reverse all that disease. While I believe it can, yes, I do believe, absolutely, I'm convinced that many people can reverse their diseases even after decades of struggling with those diseases. The body is very forgiving. Choosing the right diet, the right lifestyle choices, which means better sleep, longer hours of sleep, better activity, exercise, doing something through activity, and giving up all the harmful things that people usually do, like smoking and drinking excessively and burning the candle at both ends. It doesn't work. Now, if you want to be healthy, I believe you can absolutely be more healthy than you are today in just months. But you have to do the things that you may not want to do. Some people just don't want to give up sugar and garbage and fast food and all the harmful garbage that people are eating today. Non-nutritious. 80 to 90% of the American diet is made up of carbohydrates and sugar. And carbohydrates is just another name for sugar. Because starches and carbohydrates have to be converted to sugar to be metabolized in the body. There's a better way to do it. And I talk to people all the time that have made these big changes and they're off drugs. And I'm not telling you to go off your drug. They're off drugs because the doctor found that they were no longer necessary because they had improved so much. Their cardiovascular system is more effective. Their blood pressure is lower. Their blood sugar is lower. They're going in the right direction. They lost weight. They feel better. And you can do it. Even depression, anxiety, all these conditions are under the influence of what you eat, what I eat. We can be healthier and happier and have more vitality, more energy, less fatigue, less exhaustion, focus better, think better, have a better memory. All these things are based on what we eat. I know people that are struggling with pain on a level from 0 to 10 in an 8 to 9 range. And by changing the diet, their pain levels drop to 1 or 2. Because what the American diet represents is a pro-inflammatory diet, meaning that our diet causes inflammation. Our lifestyle choices cause inflammation. And when you change the diet, you reduce drastically inflammation, and that in turn reduces pain and all the conditions that we struggle with that are called diseases that require drugs or think they may require drugs. So diet, what we eat every day, is the foundation of our health, not drugs. Food is the foundation of our health. So today we're going to talk about some excellent topics, such as OPC. OPC are key compounds that are found in grapeseed extract, and it's used to treat heart disease. We're going to talk about Andrographis, one of my favorite herbs. It's used primarily in the Orient, Asia, China, India, Malaysia. We'll talk about what color is your fat. Your fat has a color. And what does that color represent to your health? And more news coming out today on vitamin K. And weight loss is great for your aching knees. You have a lot of weight in your torso of your body that is suspended with your hips and your knees. So it's actually shoring up. Most of the weight in your body is actually on your knees and your hips. They're aching. They're crying out because there's so much weight bearing on these joints that were never meant. So if you're having severe arthritis in your knees or your hips, losing weight is a very good and excellent benefit to take away the pain. And can you find just 6 to 11 minutes a day to exercise? You know, you don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to go out of your house. You don't have to really prepare. You know, some people don't want to work out because, hey, it takes me a half hour to get to the gym. I've got to change clothes. I work out. It's about 2 hours. I don't have 2 hours every day either. But you can really get in tip-top shape in about 6 minutes a day. And you know what? I love eggs. Eggs are one of the healthiest foods we can eat. It has the highest biologically absorbed form of protein. And eggs are so inexpensive and so healthy and so many good nutrients and protein. And you can have them any way you want. Don't overcook them. Don't fry them. When I make scrambled eggs, I constantly stir the eggs until they gel, until they are coming to a scrambled egg. Constantly stir them on the very, very low heat. Or you can have them poached, or soft boiled, or sunny side up, but not fried. When you start seeing a brown on the bottom of the egg, where it looks like it was fried, you're losing your protein. You're destroying your protein and nutrients. You don't have to eat them raw, but don't kill them. So let's talk about grapeseed extract. First of all, how it relates to heart disease. And heart disease is our number one killer today. Heart disease was the leading cause of death worldwide in 2019, about a year and a half ago. And the most recent year statistics are available from 2019. Heart disease and the number of cases of heart disease has doubled from 1990 to 2019. And the number of heart disease deaths those dying from heart disease rose by 50%. Additionally, the number of years lived with heart disease-related disabilities also doubled in the last 20 years. Where are we going wrong? What's causing heart disease? Number one, diet. In fact, almost half of Americans, 48%, have experienced heart disease, including heart attack, stroke, narrowing of the arteries, or abnormal heart rhythms. So there is a tremendous amount of research on grapeseed extract supporting good heart health. Researchers pulled the data from 15 previously published randomized controlled clinical trials on grapeseed extract and its effects on heart disease, which includes almost 700 people. And the result of these studies, 15 studies, the combination of all these studies, indicate that grapeseed extract significantly reduced blood sugar levels, like in type 2 diabetes, the inflammatory triglycerides. It's not cholesterol that's damaging your heart. It's the inflammatory triglycerides, not cholesterol. Cholesterol is our friend, and our body would not survive without cholesterol. Now that's another topic which we could spend hours on, because cholesterol is so important to the health of our body that we are being harmed by lowering our cholesterol. We make vitamin D, like dog, vitamin D3 from cholesterol. We make all of our male and female hormones from cholesterol. We make all of our adrenal hormones from cholesterol. The brain functions on fat and cholesterol. The brain only weighs 2% of the body weight, but uses 25% of the cholesterol. And cholesterol is so important that whatever your beliefs are, I believe God created us. And there is a reason why our body naturally manufactures it, because it is so critical for the health of the body that we would never depend on looking for it someplace in food or some other source. It is so critical that the Creator designed our bodies to naturally manufacture it so we would have plenty of cholesterol. Yes, we need plenty of cholesterol, but not triglycerides. And where do we get triglycerides? It's a fat made from carbohydrates and sugar. Heart disease has increased because of the amount of carbohydrates and sugar Americans eat. And we were so misguided since the 1950s that fat is bad for us, cholesterol is bad for us, eggs are bad for us, baloney. I wish I had a stronger word for baloney. But nevertheless, we have been, I don't know if it was intentionally or just stupidity, but a few doctors in the 1950s, for no reason, because there were no clinical studies that would prove that fat was bad for us. They did a few small observational studies. That means looking at something and then deciding based on what they were looking at, not a clinical study, but an observation of other countries around the world, deciding that fat is bad for us and cholesterol is bad for us. So when we use grapeseed extract, we lower blood sugar levels and the inflammatory triglycerides. But the better thing is to stop the sugar and the carbohydrates and start eating more fat. True. But we have to be careful what kind of fat. There's good fats and bad fats. You don't want triglycerides. You don't want trans fatty acids. You don't want vegetable oils. And grapeseed extract can also reduce the C-reactive protein, CRP, which is an inflammatory marker that doctors can't examine. They can do a test for C-reactive protein, and that determines what level of inflammation you have in your body. Now, even just small reductions in triglyceride levels, and that means sugar and carbohydrates. Triglycerides are made when someone tells me, Terry, my triglycerides are over 300, sometimes over 1,000. That is a pretty good clue for me that their diet is primarily carbohydrates and sugar. Now, the sugar they may not be eating with a spoonful, but their food that they've selected is primarily made of carbohydrates and sugar. Some of these Starbucks coffee drinks, loaded with sugar. Soft drinks, loaded with sugar. And all juices. Yes, I don't care what juice you choose. It could be a natural cherry juice, it could be natural orange juice. That's all sugar. So that produces triglycerides. And even if we reduce it just a small level of reduction, it can reduce the risk of heart disease by up to 32% in men and 76% in women. That's why I say food influences your health. Because heart disease is not based on not having the right drug. It's not a drug deficiency. But they'll give you a drug, and maybe if your heart disease is bad enough, maybe you should be on a drug. So that's why I always say, talk to your doctor about drugs. Don't talk to them about health. They know nothing about nutrition. They get less than a day of nutritional information or education in med school. It's the food that influences our health, good or bad. Now here are some more reasons why you should love grapeseed as much as I do. Grapeseed is and we have to be careful, I'll tell you more about that later, but we have to be careful of the quality of grapeseed that we choose, because not all of it is of good quality. 95% of the grapeseed market in the United States comes from China. They destroyed the grapeseed market. It was a great, great product in the 1990s. And then the Chinese came in with very, very low quality at a very low price. And consumers don't know that. And so if it's cheaper, why not buy the cheaper one? But it's cheaper for a reason. So that put the high quality, more expensive product out of the marketplace because nobody was buying it. They were buying the cheap, low price one. They didn't have the quality. And pretty soon in time, that low quality, low discounted price product put itself out of the marketplace because it didn't work. It didn't lower the blood pressure. It didn't lower high sugar levels. It didn't lower heart disease because it was a poor quality product only sold on price. Those that want to market products not because of quality, not because they give results, but because they're cheaper. Of course, people are going to buy the product because it's cheaper. And if you had the same quality product and it was cheaper, then I would buy the cheaper one, of course. But they're all not the same. So the reasons why I love grapeseed, high quality, and the high quality grapeseed comes from France. French grapeseed extract. It comes from the very high quality, prestigious vineyards of France. And all the other crap comes from China. Now, when you have good quality grapeseed, the one I love, gives you a 6% reduction in high blood pressure levels in men with pre-hypertension. I'm going to tell you about a clinical study, but I see that I'm almost finishing my first segment of the program. And we have to break here in a few seconds to allow the station to identify itself, and I guess there are some commercials available as well. So don't go anywhere. And first of all, remember, this is Terry Talks Nutrition. I'm Terry Naturally, the host of the show. But also go to terrytalksnutrition.com. There you can listen to the radio shows anytime you want. You can read our newsletters anytime you want. You can subscribe to our newsletter. And we have a brand new website that is phenomenal. We're getting very, very good reviews on our website. So terrytalksnutrition.com. Be back right after this. Stay right where you are. Welcome back, my friends. We're here with Terry Talks Nutrition, our radio show that's aired locally in the Green Bay, Wisconsin market. We also have it live streamed to our website. So anywhere around the world that goes to our website, they can either listen live or on demand, as they say, which means whenever it's convenient for you. The same for our newsletter. You can read some of those that are archived in the section for the e-newsletter section. And there's a lot of other good tips on our website to help you have a better, healthier life. Now, when I came into the last portion of our program, I told you about a clinical study that I wanted to share with you on grapeseed extract, which is our topic today. A clinical study of 287 people with arterial plaque. That means your arteries are plugged with a buildup of plaque that narrows the diameter of the artery. So it's like having like a 1-inch hose, and it's clogged with mud, and now you only have about a 1/4-inch hole going through the 1-inch diameter because it's plugged with mud. Well, your arteries are plugged with plaque, and that narrows the artery so less blood flows through the artery. And you have bad circulation, poor circulation to all the extremities, and men, poor blood flow to the penis, so you know what that means. Poor blood flow to the heart. So just think about this. There are many men that struggle with ED, erectile dysfunction. They cannot have an erection. And it's been estimated that 50% of the men between 30 and 70 cannot have an erection. No blood flow. The penis swells with blood to cause the erection. If there's no blood going to the penis, you can be well assured there is very little blood going to the heart. And the blood flowing to the heart carries oxygen and nutrients. So we want to have a really good blood flow. And in this clinical study of 287 people with a plaque buildup in the artery, taking grapeseed extract saw a 40%, that's 40% reduction in the plaque formation, while the group that was treated with a placebo increased by almost 30%. Now, this study took a year. And you might think, wow, you mean I have to take grapeseed extract for a year? Well, you know what? I'm going to take it for a lifetime. It is that important for the blood flow. The blood flow is our plumbing that circulates our blood, not water, but circulates the blood throughout the entire body, feeding the entire body with nutrients and oxygen. So 40% reduction in a year. Think about that. It probably has taken people 6, 7, maybe 8 decades, some people less depending on their diet, to build that plaque up to the point where they have very poor circulation and heart disease. Now, if we can reduce 40% reduction in plaque in the artery in a year, that is phenomenal. That's why I say the body is so forgiving. Now, the group that was treated with a placebo in that year time, 1 year, increased the plaque in their artery by 30%. In another study with grapeseed extract, the French grapeseed extract, 75% reduction in blood sugar levels. 75%. That is as effective as metformin or better. And to return the blood sugar in the bloodstream to near normal levels based on an animal study of diabetes. A study shows that a 10-point reduction in total cholesterol and a 5-point reduction in the oxidized LDL cholesterol, the bad cholesterol, in patients with mildly elevated cholesterol levels. And also for mild anticoagulation effects, reduces the risk of dangerous clots, but does not impair normal function. Grapeseed extract is not a blood thinner. Natural herbs have been accused to be blood thinning, like curcumin and grapeseed extract. They do not thin the blood. They don't have that ability. They don't have that power. They're not effective as a blood thinner. But they work through a different mechanism of action called anti-platelet aggregation, meaning that it prevents clotting, but does not thin the blood. And if there are clots, it has an ability to help reduce the clotting mechanism, but does not interfere with blood flow, does not impair normal function, and does not interfere with medication. Now, if you're on a blood thinner and you take grapeseed extract, you may not need a blood thinner, but I would suggest that you talk to your physician and tell your physician you're taking grapeseed extract or you want to take grapeseed extract and you don't want to take a blood thinner. That's to be discussed between you and your physician. And you decide between the two of you whether or not it's required to take a blood thinner. Now, what you really want to know that really singles out the French grapeseed extract, the beneficial compounds in grapeseed are called OPCs. Now, that's an abbreviation for the following: oligomeric proanthocyanidins. That's the compounds that are found in grapeseed extract, not grapeseed oil. I have a lot of people that write to me and say, Where do I get this grapeseed oil? It's not oil, it's powder. When you take seeds out of the grapes, and that's what they do when they make wine. Not the white wine, the red wine uses all the seeds, because that's why it's red. Uses the whole grape. They do not use the seeds in the Chardonnays and the white wines. So we use the Chardonnay grape seeds to make the grapeseed extract. So when you take the seeds, they're like sunflower seeds. And they're ground up into a powder. And they're standardized for a certain level of OPCs and polyphenols. Grapeseed extract is like a tune-up for your body. It protects cells against free radical damage and free radical activity, and improves blood circulation and strengthens blood vessels and capillaries. Sometimes you see elderly people with all their hands and forearms all bruised. They just touch a table and they have another bruise. That's due to the fact that the capillaries right under the lower level of the skin, that blood flows as well, and those capillaries become so weak and fragile due to a lack of compound in grapeseed, and the capillaries leak blood. So even like wet macular degeneration, the fluid is leaking. So we can strengthen the capillaries. People might say sometimes, I have a floater in my eye. That little speck that looks like a floater is blood that has seeped out of the capillaries in the eye. It'll, in time, be reabsorbed back into the body, but that shows that the capillaries are very, very fragile. So the grapeseed extract increases blood circulation, decreases the plaque in the artery, so you have better circulation throughout the entire body, all the way from the penis to the heart, through the legs, varicose veins, poor circulation, capillaries, spider veins, throughout the entire body. You have to look for grapeseed extract that are very high in OPCs, because this is the active compound. You don't want to buy just grapeseed. I saw a catalog mailed out from one of the biggest nutritional catalog companies in the country. And on the cover they said grapeseed, $1.69 a bottle. Well, yes, it was grapeseed, powdered grapeseed. No standardization for the OPCs or the oligomeric proanthocyanidins, which are the key active compounds. They had no idea what was in that grapeseed. Probably came from China. I can't prove that, but it probably came from China. Cheap, inexpensive grapeseed. But now people don't realize that when they're buying something for $1.69, they just wasted $1.69. But they wasted their health. Now, $1.69 is not a lot to waste. But you've also done nothing for your body. So look for grapeseed that is high in OPCs, the active compounds, and absolutely free of tannins. These are compounds in grapeseed that are not absorbed out of the intestinal tract, and they don't have any biological activity. They don't have the same benefits. They're called condensed tannins. Tannins are commonly found in wine and in tea. That's why tea can be bitter. That's why a lot of people put milk or cream in their tea, because of the bitterness. And if you drink a glass of dry wine, it has a lot of tannins. Tannins are astringents, make your mouth pucker. They use these tannins to tan leather because they're astringents, but they have no nutritional health benefits. But you can actually have a grapeseed extract that is 100% condensed tannins, which have no value, and you can still call it grapeseed extract, and you can still refer to OPCs, because even the tannins are OPCs, but they just happen to be non-valuable, no biological value, and they can't be absorbed because they are too large of a molecule. You want the very, very small molecules, the particles of grapeseed. So you want a grapeseed extract that is absolutely free of tannins. Combined with the following nutrients that will give your heart the best possible support. For example, magnesium. 70 to 80% of Americans do not get the minimum daily recommended level of magnesium, one of the best minerals for your heart. AFib is a magnesium deficiency. Men need 420 milligrams of magnesium daily. For women, 320 milligrams of magnesium daily. And 70 to 80% of Americans do not get those levels. An increased intake of magnesium reduces the risk of metabolic syndrome, which is a condition that's linked to heart disease. There are 5 conditions that make up what is called metabolic syndrome. High cholesterol, high blood sugar levels, high blood pressure. These all constitute metabolic syndrome. And it's a condition that's linked to heart disease. And magnesium lowers it by 30%. And in a recent study, every small increase in daily magnesium intake was associated with a 30% lower risk of heart disease. High dietary intakes of magnesium are linked to a 22% reduction in the risk of heart disease based on a reduced blood flow to the heart. A new study of over 150,000 postmenopausal women found that those with the highest levels of magnesium were 18% less likely to die from a heart attack. I keep saying, food is your medicine, not drugs. Also combining with magnesium and grapeseed extract, vitamin B6 in the form of P5P. P5P is pyridoxal 5-phosphate. So it's a long word to say, a long phrase, so everybody abbreviates it to P5P. And low levels of this very active form of vitamin B6, it's not normal B6. It's a high biological value of vitamin B6 which has no side effects. There are some side effects to regular B6, but this is the form that is naturally converted into the form the body requires, so there are no side effects. Regular B6, if you take too much, you could have some side effects. Now this form of B6, P5P, are associated with high levels of inflammation and increased risk of heart disease. So this reduces inflammation, reduces heart disease. One study found that people with the highest levels of inflammation, including C-reactive protein, had a P5P levels 25% lower than people with low levels of inflammation. So with a lack of P5P, there's a lot more inflammatory processes going on in the body. More inflammation. And P5P increases the absorption of magnesium. A separate study found that people with the highest intake of vitamin B6 had C-reactive protein levels, that's inflammation, 50% lower than people with the lowest levels of vitamin B intake. And findings from the Nurses' Health Study that has been going on for years show that women with the highest levels of P5P had a 78% reduction in the risk of heart disease versus women with the lowest levels of B6 P5P. Then vitamin B1, known as thiamine. There's a fat-soluble form of vitamin B1. Normally, all the B vitamins are water-soluble, so they flow out of the body very, very quickly. Benfotiamine is a fat-soluble form of vitamin B1. It easily passes the intestinal wall and can enter directly into the cells. The maximum absorption is 5 times better, 5 times higher than other forms of thiamine. And supplemental benfotiamine reduced by 50% the oxidative stress and restricted blood flow associated with smoking. Benfotiamine prevented damage to the heart associated with diabetes. And in a separate study, this is an animal model of diabetes, benfotiamine stopped oxidative stress, damage to the heart. Those that are type 2 diabetics because of their diet, too much sugar and carbohydrates, which causes type 2 diabetes, not a lack of a drug, not a lack of insulin, but sugar and carbohydrates. There is so much sugar in the body, in the bloodstream, that the insulin can't keep up with shuttling the sugar into the cells to be burned for energy. So the insulin just gives up because there's not enough insulin that can compensate for the amount of sugar that's consumed by Americans. And so we have a high blood sugar level. That's all it is. High blood sugar level, not diabetes. But it makes a lot of sales for drugs for diabetes. Lots of money for the drug companies. Now, pomegranate is in an animal study, 90% prevention of the LDL cholesterol oxidation. A clinical trial in people with heart disease, blood pressure lowered by 12%, and a 30% reduction in the plaque in the arteries by the use of pomegranate over a year's time. So now you have a combination of grapeseed extract and pomegranate, reducing the plaque in the arteries, while the control group, those that had a fake pill, no pomegranate, saw their plaque increase by 9%. So the combination I like to take, just to support my heart health and reduce the risk of heart disease or heart attack, I take a combined level of 600 milligrams of pomegranate and grapeseed extract with 30 milligrams of P5P or otherwise vitamin B6, 300 milligrams of magnesium, and 150 milligrams of benfotiamine. This is a good dosage to take daily for superior heart health. It is so important to know what to do to lower our risk of heart disease and improve blood flow, reduce blood pressure, reduce blood sugar, and reduce the plaque in the arteries. This is very comprehensive in reducing the risk of heart disease, and then, of course, combine it with the best diet possible, good quality fats, moderation in proteins, and lower your carbohydrates down to as low as possible, Might be 20 or 40 grams a day versus the 400 grams that most Americans eat, and no sugar. Now here are some key vitamins that can also be used for healthy hearts and arteries. Vitamin A, retinol, not beta-carotene. Beta-carotene does not work. 10,000 IUs, international units, of retinol, or otherwise vitamin A, slows the progression of inflammation leading to heart disease. And vitamin D3, 5,000 IUs, keeps arteries flexible and reduces inflammation. Blocks a hormone that increases blood vessel constriction, squeezing the arteries, less blood flow, which can lead to increased blood pressure. And vitamin K2, minoquinone, not K1, but K2. K1 helps coagulate the blood. K2 should be about 45 mcgs, micrograms, and this helps direct calcium away from the arteries, so you do not get a buildup of calcium in the arteries, because it directs calcium away from the blood vessels, where it can lead to hardening of the arteries or calcification of the arteries and build up a plaque within the diameter of the artery. And where does it take the calcium? Directly to the bones, where it is most critical and needed. So it's kind of like a traffic cop, directing calcium throughout the body, where it's supposed to go, and make sure it doesn't go anywhere else to cause damage. So you can also take a combination like this daily, along with the grapeseed and pomegranate complex. And then there are other things too that I think are very important for the heart. Of course, grapeseed extract, pomegranate. Grapeseed is one of my favorites. In fact, there have been 4 or 5 studies now just recently on the French grapeseed extract that shows it has a powerful effect in reducing the risk of cancer of the colon and working as effectively as 5-FU, which is a drug that is commonly prescribed for cancer patients that have colon cancer, and actually performed as well, and actually even performed even better when it's combined with 5-FU, and lower the dosage required by 5-FU, and reduce the toxicity of the 5-FU for liver damage. And then I love CoQ10. Someday we'll do a whole topic on CoQ10. CoQ10 is a really excellent heart supporting factor. So you've got a lot to work with to build a better heart. If you're struggling with heart disease, change your diet. Get rid of the sugar and the carbohydrates. Eat what I consider to be one of the best diets available. It's the Ketogenic Diet. It kind of lays out what you should be eating. And you can find all that information at the ketogenicdietresource.com or the Diet Doctor. And also I would recommend diagnosisdiet.com. These 3 websites really emphasize food as your medicine. And it makes a huge difference in your life and your health. And with that, my friends, today's program has been wrapped up. I'm off to do some other things today, maybe some research, who knows. Hopefully that we have a good sunny day and have some fun. So with that, my friends, say a prayer for this crazy, mad world. And God bless you, and God bless America.